There's an elephant in the room, and we definitely have to address it. When we talk about humble beginnings, I definitely, it takes me back to when we first started this show, Wake Up. There were four of us. You guys are used to seeing four of us at this table. Keith, Fode, myself, and Will, who was with us during season 1. Unfortunately, Will has moved on to other things, and he will no longer be a co-host moving forward with the show. We do thank Will for everything that he's contributed to the show. We wish him nothing but the best. I'm sure he's going to go out and do great things, and we want you guys to continue to support him. But today, we have our guest co-host, Jules, that's going to sit in with us, and we're going to talk about living with a disability. Hey, Jules, and thank you so much for sitting with us and guest co-hosting. You look amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
So today we're talking about living with an invisible disability in today's society. And before we move forward, I have an issue with the word disability, because I always feel like when we say disability, it's like we're trying to label someone or kind of like belittle someone in a sense.
Okay.
I think that maybe we should say a disadvantage.
Disadvantage really isn't any better, because at the end of the day, you're telling me that you're better than me because you're at an advantage. So it's one of those things, it's tit for tat.
It is, but
so tomato. It's just one of those things. It's a toss-up.
Okay, I'll take that.
It's a toss-up.
I'll take that.
Because at least with a disability, there's some sort of a barrier. There are ones that have it. There are ones that don't. There are ones that can live with it. There are ones that can't. So it's very black and white. It's very straightforward for what it is.
Okay, she came to get us together today, y'all.
I'm sorry.
She's spitting knowledge.
I can't
So, Jules, when it comes to like disabilities, of course, the disabilities that I've visually been able to see, they aren't necessarily invisible. So what are some invisible disabilities that you know of?
Ooh, some invisible. Ooh, I can name a whole bunch. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so let's start with the obvious, lupus. Another one is one that I suffer with myself. It's called POTS, and that's postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. It's a heart condition. In layman's terms, my blood pressure drops, my heart rate increases, I pass out frequently. So like, my heart stops, it does all of this weird and crazy stuff.
Can you break down exactly what the disease is, the symptoms?
Dizziness, impaired, like it's very similar to vertigo, all except you feel drunk and you pass out, like
Now, is this
physically pass out, black out.
Not to cut you off, is this something that you're born with, or is it something that it develops over time during your lifetime?
I did not know that I had POTS until after my second child was born, my daughter. It developed after I had my daughter. So it's something that can just appear. It has to be some form of trauma. And that was pretty interesting because I never knew giving birth was trauma until I went through it, but that's a whole nother story.
Okay. You can come back and break that down, but yeah, I got you.
But I definitely had to figure out how to go about my day again. I couldn't go the same way I would before I knew that I had it. So it was like discovering new things. It was discovering things I can and cannot do, or I don't like the word can. So it was discovering a new way of how to do something new. I'll put it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were some challenges and obstacles that you had to overcome when you learned about your you were diagnosed with POTS?
Let's start with the easy one. Let's try sitting up. Couldn't sit up. As soon as I sat up, I would pass out. So what we had to do was we had to physically put bricks under my mattress, and we would add a brick to raise and incline, so my body would like remember, hey, you're sitting up. Hey, you're okay. Hey, we don't need to pass out right now. And so it's like my body had to physically understand the angles again and be like, oh, you're actually now at a 90 degree, like you're good now.
Okay.
And I could do that without passing out.
Okay.
And steps were a new thing. I've fallen down many.
Oh.
And it was weird putting one foot in front of the other, missing a step, and then of course, the rest, Humpty Dumpty fell down the steps. But it was a new way of looking at things. My kids taught me how to crawl up the steps because I was lower to the ground. And it's a new thing when your kids are teaching you new things, but you're supposed to be the adult. So your pride got to go straight out the window, like straight out the window. But they taught me humility. They taught me that it doesn't matter as long each new endeavor is a victory, no matter how small it is. Forward progress is just that, it's forward progress. And so I will always appreciate my little tiny babies for that.
Yes.
And my babies taught me how to crawl, they taught me how to walk, they taught me how to do things that they were learning how to do, but we in turn did it together. So that was pretty cool. But everybody in the world doesn't always look at things like that. And that's why this topic was so near and dear to my heart, because where I felt like I did a great thing, it was painful for somebody else to watch.
Yeah.
And then you try really hard not to pop an attitude because it's just like, what are you so uncomfortable with? And so many people are just like, well, how sick are you? Why is that any of your business? Why do you need to know? I'm sick, period.
Yeah.
I have nothing to explain to you.
Okay, so to play devil's advocate,
Yes.
and I am sorry that happened to you. I truly
course.
am. Some or a few, let's say, less-minded people might say, well, these diseases that people talk about or disabilities that people talk about, you only see it in the Western world where people have money, while in third world countries, you never even hear about stuff like this. You see like disabilities and stuff like that is, what are you seeing? Like, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. But these like stuff that's not seen, you don't really see it. So it could just be like a first world problem, or problem for the rich, or a problem for people who simply just make things up so they could be felt sorry for.
So here's the most interesting thing.
Yeah.
POTS didn't have a name until 2009. So people were passing out left and right. People were having tachycardia, didn't know why. And it started not here. And people were walking for long periods of time, passing out, didn't understand what was happening. It was labeled as hysteria. It was labeled as dehydration. It was labeled as other things. So people kept getting misdiagnosed even though they probably had POTS. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be something from a rich nation per se. It just could mean that they actually put the name to it to understand, so that people like me could actually not feel crazy in the head. Like there's something going on and I know it's there because I feel it. But they were the ones to put a name to it. Think about the ones that still don't have a name to what's going on with them.
Yeah.
And think about their mindset. It's pretty crazy.
Maybe it's not being, I see what you're saying, Fode, how it may be a problem in the Western world, but in those other countries, maybe it's something like Jules was saying, that it's not reported. It may be something to where as though you're not getting any reports or any results because it's not something you can diagnose or you understand at a certain level.
Absolutely.
But if you do have those folks who are just saying, well, we don't have those problems, we're going to blame it on, I don't know, witchcraft. We're going to blame it on something and push under the rug. You have those people. So what do you say, or what would be your best advice to motivate someone who is going through it to help them sort of like build a canal and say, you know what, this is the right path I'm going on, find my source, and I just need to keep going? Like, what do you say to encourage somebody else going through this? Not if they have POTS, but
just any invisible illness.
Yes.
Find your people.
Okay.
And I say that earnestly because you feel insane. You feel absolutely bonkers because nobody can relate to you. Nobody can understand exactly what your feelings are, what you're going through, and you're constantly ridiculed for it every day. What you can and cannot do. Well, why can't you? I don't understand. And you're constantly explaining the same thing over and over again.
But doesn't that, let's make a U-turn and go back to Keith about what he said about witchcraft, because it is a well-known fact that the Western world, which I belong to, and I'm proud to belong to it, again, tends to look down upon like other worlds and other beliefs, And he said, and he stated that they might say, oh, it's based off witchcraft. What exactly is wrong with them saying it's based off witchcraft? Because your belief might be one thing, but their belief might be something else. And what if they could cure it in that sense, and simply by saying, oh, they say it's witchcraft, you're just pushing them to the side and making them feel less humane in a way.
So you believe it's witchcraft?
I didn't say I did. I'm
asking.
If somebody,
So like, what's our right for saying, oh, we're right, they believe in witchcraft? And what's the difference between the two of us, really? Because they could say the same thing. Oh, they're just rich, they have money, they're just making up
what's the
diseases.
difference between a placebo and an actual antibiotic?
I don't know.
Well, the placebo is going to be, it's all in your mind.
Yeah.
And if you believe, like if I give you this pill A, and I tell you what pill A is.
Like a sugar pill, baby.
Correct. So I'm going to give you this sugar pill, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to prescribe and let you know it does this, that, and a third. Because I've already told you that, and your mental is picking it up and you're receiving that information, now you're prone to use your mind because it's such a powerful tool. You're going to use your mind, you may heal yourself. Oh my God.
Yeah, we've seen that happen before.
Right.
Is there medication?
There is, but you have to be careful. That's how I had a stroke in 2015.
Oh.
They prescribed me with medication, and then when they upped the dosage, I had stroked out in the middle of work. And and so that was, you got to be careful. You got to really figure out what will work. What will work for you.
So did you stop? So are you currently on any medication?
I was able, after that, I trusted no medication, and so I went back to my roots, and I went straight with herbal medicines and medicinal.
How's it been working out for you?
Oh, I love it. I changed my diet. I stopped eating meat except for bacon. That's a whole nother story. I'd rather not get into that. But I drink tea. I do a lot of...
Tea is a great detox.
I love tea.
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh.
Lemon tea is the best, yeah.
There's a tea for everything. And I get that from my grandmother. My grandmother, like, she was known as the tea lady of the neighborhood. And so you can cure tea with so many different things. And so cure tea, you can cure illnesses with so many different teas.
We got you. We know.
Sorry, I caught that.
We hear what you hear.
And with me, I needed to build my immune system. And I needed to build my immune system in a way that would not allow my body to float so wildly with my heart rate. I had to stop boxing. I had to stop kickboxing because my heart rate would go up so rapidly. Like within a matter of like 5 minutes, I would be at 200 and my resting heart rate was like 62. So I had to stop doing the thing that I love. But not everybody knows why.
Did you become depressed from that? Because
I'm
sure.
Yes. Like, absolutely. You kind of you automatically put yourself at a disadvantage, and that's why I don't like that word.
Okay, now I got you. All right.
Because
now
you get to see how everybody else can respond and react to the different things that they go through. And okay, well, that person has MS, but yet they're still able to function until they can't. They're still able to do things until they can't. And so, but you don't hear that until you can't. Only thing you see is that they can, and why can't I?
And you said something about going to basically using herbs and all that to cure yourself. Did that give you a doubt about, again, Western medicine compared to like herbalism and so? Because if herbalism worked for you, doesn't that,
Well,
compared to the meds that they gave you?
I put it very simply. As far as is it Western medicine per se, or
prescription? Because herbalism is basically seen as
I love. It goes back to slavery.
Yeah.
We were not prescribed medication unless it was to be tested on us for our slave masters per se.
Yeah.
In every other sense, we found an herb that'll help with cramps.
Yeah.
Correct.
Or mixed it with blueberries because blueberries help with menstrual cramps. Little things like that. We used elderberry, found out that it was great for the immune system. We used echinacea, found out that was an amazing immune booster and also helped with every other sickness that you can possibly think about.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there's nothing wrong with it. It's just you have to understand which properties will work better.
Right. See, I can agree with that because that, to some people, that may be in the realm of, oh, they're, like you said, with herbs and everything like that. With the herbs, it's looked at like, all right, well, it's medicine versus what, you know,
not real medicine.
Yeah,
the witch doctor is going to give you.
But the
But it works.
The pharmaceuticals, of course, they don't want to prescribe that, or they don't want to talk too much about herbs because they feel as though
You can grow it yourself.
I mean, you can do it yourself, but they're not going to make as much money.
Absolutely.
So they're making money off the medication.
Absolutely.
So that's the reason why
There's
they want
always
to
money in
prescribe
medicine.
these
There's
medications.
always money in medicine. And
Yeah,
but see, that plays a whole big thing on disability because you have a full board telling you how sick you are and what you can and cannot do.
Yeah.
And I was denied for disability 6 times. And they told me, oh no, you can work. But every company that I went and applied for labeled me as a liability. So what job could I get? Like they wouldn't even hire me at Walmart. It was really bad. I was like, really? I can't even greet people at Walmart? Like that's rude. Like,
Right.
I was like, I mean,
I totally.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I could do that. But they told me, well, what if you pass out? And what if you fall on somebody? And what if you crush somebody's baby? Like, why would I crush somebody's baby? But okay, fine.
The baby
But
might
they just
be
pretty
born.
much
Just saying, like.
yeah, they just pretty much saw you as a liability, so they didn't want to take that risk.
Exactly.
So moving forward, how was life for you today?
It has its ups and downs because still people still see, they either see the disability or they choose to see me as a person of who I give off. But I have to be very careful because when they intersect, I never get that vulnerability back.
Right.
And it's weird because once they know, you get the and I'm sorry, and
So
and
it's like they kind of pity you.
and yes, and that's the last thing I want.
And I know you don't
It's
want
like,
that.
oh my
If anything,
gosh.
you want strength. You want
That's right.
to just be strong and courageous.
Not even strength. I want you to treat me as if you've always treated me. Period.
Don't treat me any differently
Don't treat me
because
any
you feel as
different.
though I'm at, like you said earlier,
Absolutely.
a disadvantage.
Being in a wheelchair, like I was in a wheelchair, and I had friends call me hop along because I would hop along on one leg, and I was fine with it.
Yeah.
Like we can joke all day, like all day. Okay, like I was doing a stanky leg with a walker, like with my one good leg, because I can still do it.
That's right. That's right.
But it was to people that saw that I can still do things that I've always done. I just now have to do them my way and not society's way.
Yeah.
So, what advice do you have for anyone out there who's living or struggling with a disability? Like, what advice can you give them? Because you know, some people are ready to give up. Some people don't know if they got that fight left in them to keep going.
I'm a very valuable lesson my grandmother used to say to me was when people get on your nerves, you simply tell them you can kiss what I twist and I don't mean my wrist.
Okay.
That's a new one. I think I'm gonna have to
All right.
take that one.
But see, I say that to say, don't allow people to give you your limitations. You are the only person that can
Put a
be in
limit.
control of your own limitations.
So when you said limitation, Jules, what are some limitations or boundaries that you've been placed in by peers, friends, or family, anybody? What are some limitations or boundaries that you've been placed in?
I've been told that I need to be a housewife.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, what? I love my babies and all, don't get me wrong. It's just my husband is the person that loves being a home dad.
Yeah.
And he makes putty and he does like, and I'm just like, yeah, you need to be at home. Because I'm like, sit still.
That's his thing.
Watch a movie. Watch popcorn. Like, I'm fun. I like going out. I like doing things. And he's just like, let's homecraft. And just don't put yourself in society's stereotype.
Yeah.
Okay.
Live outside of it.
We thank you so much, Jules, for coming on and sharing your story with us, in hopes that it inspires someone else out there who could be dealing with the very same struggle. Can you tell everyone where they can find you at on social media?
Oh yes, they can find me at crippled but cute _artistry on Instagram. You can also, we just opened a beauty bar in Rockville, Maryland, called Impaired Artistry Institute. And so you can definitely go to our website at impairedartistryinstitute.org and you'll be able to see all of our services listed there.
Okay. Well, thank you again so much for coming through and kicking it with us.
Thank you, Jules.
Anytime.
Anytime, you know, the peace sign, anytime.
Oh.
Anytime.
We got you. All right, y'all have a good one and be safe out there.
Anytime.